Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Aquarius for November 2017. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, check out my blog, and check out my new Astaria School of Practical Magic, where I help you use ancient and scientific wisdom to bring magic into your practical, worldly experience. So what's going on in the month of November? We walk right into this continued open window free from personal planets being retrograde, where it's a time for launches, pushing forward, making big decisions, and that window lasts until November 15th. Then it starts to move into the Mercury shadow period before the retrograde. And there are a couple of dates towards the end of the month that I'll talk about in case you have to push some things through. If you can't do it by the 15th. So we'll get into more details about that with the general transit soon. But first, let's talk about some things specific for Aquarius placements. I am calling the theme for Aquarius for this month a new voice. And this is coming from energy of the full moon. We often think about the energy of the new moon as something carrying the new energy. And I will talk about where the new moon energies will hit for you as well. But often full moon energies bring things to light. They bring things to fruition. They bring things to completion. They can bring drama. And all of you are going to have this energy in the third house. Now, even though Taurus is the ruler of the fourth house for Aquarius, because of the degree of Taurus, it doesn't line up with getting quite into the fourth house for all of you. It's complicated to understand this if you're not having the visual reference. But you'll be able to see if you run a horoscope chart that the fourth house doesn't start at 0 degrees of Taurus. It starts at a later degree of Taurus. And the later degree you are of Aquarius, the later degree Taurus starts the fourth house. So that means some things that happen in early Taurus can actually fall into the third house, even though that's not the ruler of the even though that's not the ruler for the natural chart. Okay, so this energy, fruition, coming to completion, drama, bringing things to light of this full moon in Taurus on November 3rd is going to occur for everyone in the third house. The third house has to do with communication, and that's why I'm calling it a new voice. Sometimes Aquarius energies tend to observe, okay? They're very wonderful observers, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they give their voice into something. So this situation that comes up at the full moon could be something that you just finally have to talk about. You have to talk to someone about it. You have to say something to someone about it. And it has a chance to have a new pattern of communication for you. Besides the energy of your actual voice, it could be things related to, speaking, singing, anything actually with your voice. But it can also just do with communication in general. It can have to do with your vehicles, some drama or complication or coming to fruition, a new vehicle, a new device, a new method of communication, a new opportunity with a sibling or a cousin or a relative, mostly like uncles, aunts, etc. Some of you early degree placements, since that full moon energy is on the line there of the fourth house, it could also, go into parents, kids, other parts of your family. But the bulk of you have this in the third house, which is other relatives besides those. So I always like to leave room around the full moon because the full moon can bring stress or drama, even though it can also bring happy tears. But regardless of what is coming up that you want to emotionally be present for, if you don't have a bunch of stuff scheduled around the full moon, when those things come up, then you can be present for them. And do note that you can often feel this full moon energy, sometimes even a couple of days, and for very powerful moons, you can feel it even more than a couple of days beforehand. So be looking out for that. And the new moon energy is on November 18th. And so the early degree placements will be experiencing that in their 10th house. The middle degree placements have a chance to either feel that in their 10th or 9th house. And then the late degree placements will have that new moon energy in their 9th house. New moons are opportunities to have a clean slate, to set intentions, to make wishes. You can check out my video, Making Wishes Come True Using Astrological Power Periods. If you just search for Making Wishes Annie, it should come up. And I give a lot of interesting ideas for how you can use this energy and phrase your wishes, etc. But you do get 10 wishes at new moon time. And the more closely you align those with the sign of the new moon, the more likely they are to have support. So you can also check out my blog. It's called Making Powerful New Moon and Scorpio Wishes. So again, if you search for that and Annie, or go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, you can see that there. But then there's the extra element of new moon energy in the house, okay? So everyone experiences new moon in the sign that it's in, which will be 26 degrees of Scorpio. But early and middle degree placements could have this energy in their career sector. So work, career, vocation, their leadership, how they are in the world, their self-employment ideas, their business ideas. This can have to do with a relationship with father, or relationship with an authority figure of some sort, or becoming your own authority figure. So early and middle degree placements have a very strong chance of feeling that there. Some of you middle degree placements, especially towards the later degree, you will likely have that in the 9th house, as will the late degree placements. So what does new moon in the 9th house look like? New opportunities, clean slate for teaching projects, learning projects, education of any kind, whether you're the teacher or the learner. Long distance travel, international business, different countries, different cultures, different languages, publishing, writing, speaking. This has to do with spiritual studies. It also has to do with religion. So involvement with the church or a sector of spiritual studies is also here. So you might find some new opportunities there, or make a breakthrough discovery with your spiritual studies. It's a really great time for opening up to learning something new. And there's plenty of opportunity for that. So these are the things that are most on my mind for Aquarius placements. Now I want to talk at length about all the transits that will be affecting everyone, but will definitely be affecting you too. So I'm going to go into details about the dates, what the transits are, what the themes of the month are, and how you can best use those energies. So the theme of the month for all signs for November 2017 is Train Your Inner Hero. And this is on account of a bunch of aspects with Chiron. Chiron is an asteroid. It's named after a gentle centaur in Greek mythology. Many people who follow Chiron in their charts will know that he's known as the wounded healer. So when you're following him in your chart, this is a place where it's like your Achilles heel, you know, you're strongest everywhere else except there. That's your sore spots, your most vulnerable points. But there's another aspect of Chiron that's lesser known, and that is that he was a trainer of heroes. Many of the figures in Greek mythology, the heroes in Greek mythology that won these victories that we've heard about all this time, they were trained by Chiron. And so as we have aspects with Chiron, challenging and more soft, we have this wonderful opportunity not only to work on this tyrant-victim polarity that comes up so readily on the earth plane. That's another piece of Chiron, is to remember that when we feel like someone is being a tyrant to us, then we're automatically a victim, and vice versa. So the belief in any point of that polarity brings perpetuation of the dynamic back and forth, and the role-playing back and forth. So Chiron assists us to transcend these energies and to drop the story of victimhood and plant the seeds of empowerment. And it also assists us in training our inner hero. So a great trainer will use our weakest spots as not only places to fortify, but also places that make us different than other people, that bring us gifts. So you may find many gifts in focusing on your vulnerabilities at this time from these aspects, and that's one of the themes of the month. So we've got lots of Scorpio energies continuing into this month, and they are going to continue to bring in the themes that they started in October of deep introspection, mysteries, research, psychology. Astrology is in there also from the psychological perspective. This is the house and sign, the 8th house, of other people's money. So inheritances, shared money, marital money, sweepstakes, winning, finding money, money coming from nowhere, debt, credit. All of these are themes that are going to be continuing to be brought up by the Scorpio energies this month. There are many powerful transformations awaiting with this energy because Pluto owns that space of the deepest transformation, birth, death, rebirth. The phoenix rising from the ashes is a way that I always like to describe that energy. So we've got that energy present, but at the same time, this lighter, very different Sag energy starts to work its way in. And when Sag energy becomes present, we have the desire for action and movements, adventure and prolific expression. It's the sign of luck, and it's the energy of optimism, and also is a very strong intuitive, like following hunches to increase synchronicities, and increasing the breadth of our experience. Scorpio energy talks about the depth of experience, and Sag energy talks about the breadth. So we've got both of those going on this month. So you might find a lot of chances to spiral in and go deep, as we also spin out and go really wide. Lots of people will find that they are excited about and ready to and having opportunities to travel or do things with different countries, different cultures, different languages. Sag energy is also very much related to publishing projects, writing, editing, teaching, learning, and teaching and learning programs of any kind are Sag's domain. So, and just fun, Sag is a very easy, light-hearted, fun-loving sign. So you'll feel those energies start to roll in. In November, we are still in that window that started in September of this open time without personal planets being retrograde, but that's only through November 15th. November 15th, the Mercury retrograde shadow period begins. So Mercury doesn't go retrograde in November, but the shadow period starts on the 15th. So every day after the 15th, you start feeling that kind of the mishaps, the miscommunication, stuff with transportation, stuff with the devices coming up. And you can check out my video, Mercury retrograde do's and don'ts, on my channel, Annie Botticelli, Mercury retrograde. Also, you can just tune in to what's happening, and this is one of the most important things that I'd like to teach about astrology, is that you can hear about what's going on in the energies, but the more you start to match these dates with feeling into them, that's the biggest thing, because you will notice it. I have heard countless people tell me when they start paying attention, oh gosh, Mercury must be retrograde again. Things start slowing down, communications start getting more complicated, things from the past start showing up. So if you have a big launch or something you want to burst out into the world, trying to push it out by the 15th is a really good idea, because we don't want your out push to be interfered with by the in-roll of Mercury retrograde. Now, that being said, I will talk about a couple of dates after November 15th if you have to push some last minute stuff through that are really nice energies, but try to get the bulk of your gusto out before that time. I always liken this to the idea of being on a deserted island and making a boat. When you try to get off the island, you would not put your boat that you've worked so hard to make, this is your last chance, right? Your only chance to get off the island. You wouldn't put it out when the tide was coming in. It would make no sense. You'd be battling the waves and you probably wouldn't make it. But if you wait, if you watch the tides and you wait until the tide is going out to set your boat afloat, it's much more likely that you're going to reach your destination. So that's why we want to pay attention to these energies. And even though everyone gets, a lot of people get irritated with, oh, it's Mercury retrograde again, I don't want to hear about this. Well, it's true, but it's important as a rhythm, especially in a world where everything is about go, 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 that we have these beautiful retrogrades that remind us that sometimes it's just time to roll a little bit in and then store and save, hold the gold until we have these good launching points and then push out, and then roll back in. So half the month is in this major push out, and then we start moving into this roll back in type of energy. So I'm going to give you some details about some of the aspects to look out for this month and the dates they happen around. Do know that when I give you exact dates that the transits occur on, you could feel those manifestations before or after those dates, because it's not a finite point in time that these things are expressing. We often will feel them before or after. So just kind of pay attention. And always there are positive or easier aspects occurring at the same time as the more challenging aspects that are coinciding with each other. So you have to really tune into your own energy flow. And even if a date's supposed to be good for something, if you're feeling really strong the day before, don't be afraid to just bust it out. You have to use this information to follow your own intuitive flow and not let anything else supersede your own inner knowing. Also, when you sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com, you can get a written version of my general transit reading a month before, delivered right into your inbox, so you can have a visual on it as far as the dates and the energies that they can bring. So sometimes people like that for planning purposes. Okay, so we start out with a Mercury in Scorpio trine Chiron and Pisces. This is one of the many Chiron aspects we have this month. That is why I called the theme of the month Train Your Inner Hero, because of this Chiron presence. And with this combination, and this is like the first through the second, but you could feel it before or after, support could come from inner work or another person, as confidence is built through self-acceptance. You know, Chiron, especially in Pisces, is just a very, it's an internal healing, anything that makes us feel like we're not right with anything, with ourselves, with the world, you know. So the more we have self-acceptance, the more we can be open to support from other people because we feel like we deserve it. On November 2nd, there's a Saturn and Sag squaring Chiron and Pisces. So we have this sweet aspect at the same time as this challenging aspect. So it's like this newfound work with self-acceptance is going to be tested by an authority figure, likely something stern from the outside world. But it could be the other way around. It could be that because something is coming in as harshness, we can choose to use the softer energy to just love ourselves, love the person or the being, whatever it is that's reflecting this to us, and do good inner work with it. On November 3rd, we have a Sun in Scorpio trine Neptune in Pisces. This first occurred on July 5th, and it brings a really great focus on creativity and artistic talents. So you might use that energy purposely for creative or artistic work, or you might just find it's naturally brought out of you, that you're kind of in that mood. So this is a really positive and peaceful combination, and it's really supportive to assisting self and others. So then on November 3rd, we also have this full moon at almost 12 degrees of Taurus. Full moons bring fullness, completion, fruition to the sign that it is occurring in. Sometimes it brings drama. Sometimes it brings elucidation, the bringing to light of something. So that will be in the areas of everything Taurian, you know. So this is personal finances, your own earned income, luxury items, earth, eco-related projects. This has to do with your values and also has to do with self-esteem. So we've got a really busy time at the beginning of the month because coinciding with this full moon, we also have something else going on November 3rd, which is Venus in Libra sextiling Saturn in Sagittarius. A sextile is a very favorable aspect. It usually is one that requires you to take action in order to get the good possibility from it. So when Venus and Saturn come together, it's really great for taking steps forward with long-term projects. And since there's energy in Libra, it would favor partnerships or working with someone on something. And this is a really great launching point for trying to move forward with things, but it's kind of a mixed bag, you know, because you have all this intensity around, and then the next day you have Venus opposing Uranus in Aries. And so this can bring jolts or overstimulation in the arenas of love or money or self-esteem, you know. So definitely issues with self versus relationship are being brought up. So it's possible that as you have a chance to move forward in partnership, the fears could come up, you know, of merging. And, you know, so you can use your intuition to see what you're supposed to do with that. But there's definitely a lot of energy around partnering and doing something for the long term. On November 9th, we've got the Sun in Scorpio making a great aspect to Pluto in Capricorn. Again, this is one that you would need to take action on to get its most positive attributes. And this has to do with bonding with other people in deep ways. So, in love, in money, in business, so you can kind of see this theme of partnership. And this is being brought over from the energies in Scorpio, some energies still in Libra. Libra and Scorpio are partnership energies. So just, it has to do with self, and it has to do with how we relate to others, which is a very common theme for this month. We'll look out on the 13th, or let's see, the 11th first. We've got another beautiful aspect. Now, this is a really big deal because when outer planets, the ones that take a really long time to move around, make aspects to each other, these themes last for a long time because they come together and then they retrograde apart and then they come together again, and they like follow this flow over an extended period of time where there's a long-term theme. So this is the last of the 3 brilliant matchups of this Saturn and Uranus energy. And these are very different energies. Saturn is long-term, ground building, foundational, and Uranus is out of the blue, surprises, can be unstable, and Saturn is stable, so it's like this coming together of opposites in a way, in a beautiful configuration. So the first time this happened was December 24th, 2016. The second time it happened was May 19th of 2017, and then this is the third time. So it can really bring stability and expansion through the combination of innovation and technology, because Uranus rules innovation and technology. So this transit lasts well beyond the date of November 11th. You'll feel it in the weeks before, weeks after. Sensitive people will have felt it as a long-term theme for almost a year. So on the 13th, we've got a really fantastic aspect for merging. There's so much energy that's really good for weddings, for partnerships coming together. Like I said, it's a mixed bag because there's, the challenges and the fears that come with it, and maybe the red flags even. But Venus matching up with Jupiter is one of the best combinations for love and money, because Jupiter's a great expander and Venus rules love and money. So it can very thoroughly expand. Anything that you do on this day or around this day as far as money or love can be very, very powerful and transformational. So I really love it as a launch date for business things. Again, you just have to feel in, because there is an aspect on the same day where Mercury, which is ruling communication, is in Neptune, is squaring Neptune. And that can mean you're not seeing things clearly, So if you've already done all of the work where you have to, do your testing to make sure everything is cool to move forward, then this could just be a little blip. But if you're just meeting someone at this time, there could be an intense meeting, either romantic or otherwise, but there's this piece where you're maybe not seeing everything really clearly as well. So you just have to look out for that. On the 16th, Venus in Scorpio is making a beautiful aspect to Neptune, and this is wonderful for emotions and intimacy. You can see our theme of this partnership and coming together continues. Now, if you are someone who is moving through this time and you're not merging with people in any way, that doesn't mean that the transformation can't abound prolifically, because Scorpio energy is very deep and can be very individual, even though it does represent the merging of energies as well. But an individual going on a deep transformational journey can very much embody this energy, because it's the story of going deep into the self as well. So you can do really deep inner work with this, solve mysteries, find answers to problems, find solutions. There's a lot of different ways you can use this besides merging with other people. So on the 16th, we also have the Sun in a beautiful aspect with Chiron. So Chiron coming up again, this has to do with your forgiveness of self, helping all of your relationships. When it comes back down to it, to simplify so many things in life, we are mad at ourselves and we project it on other people, and everything becomes a mess. It's really simple. So self-forgiveness and anything we do with self-forgiveness can be very greatly assisted this month, and that's part of training your hero. Okay, so then on the 17th, we have Mercury and Sag making a trine to Mars, and this is awesome for bringing thoughts into action. So Mercury and Sag is very busy mentally, You know, even though November 17th is technically in the pre-shadow period, you still can push some good things through on this day. Then we've got our new moon at 26 degrees of Scorpio on November 18th. And this is time to make your new moon wishes. New moon wishes are real, just like birthday wishes are real. You know, you've got this new open window, especially when you align your wishes with the sign that the new moon is in. You can check out my website for a blog about this. It's called Making Powerful New Moon Wishes in Scorpio. You just go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and go in the blog, go in Astrology, and search for New Moon Wishes Scorpio. You can have a good guideline for how you can maximize these wishes. And I have those every month for every sign, so you can always find them there. But to summarize, you know, you want to use those Scorpio related things that I talked about earlier: partnership, other people's money, deep finances, astrology, psychology, things like that, and align your wishes in those arenas for powerful transformation. This new moon is also going to be making a beautiful trine to Chiron, right? We keep talking about Chiron this month, so it's bringing strength and empowerment and interdependence. There's also a conflict with Mars and Pluto on the 19th that could show up as part of this new moon. Mars squaring Pluto is always a little bit nasty. You know, I'm an optimist. I like to look at the bright side of things, but I will always tell you when I see an aspect that's yucky, you know? It's not that you can't do something good with it. I hope that you will. That's my mantra, is challenging aspects are here for us to push through resistance and clear out issues that are interfering with our highest expression. But it can be kind of nasty, you know? Aggression, violence, you know, all of these things. If you are to try to avoid circumstances where things like that could occur, be very careful driving, you know, don't antagonize a crazy person. Things like that are good to avoid when you have a conflict with Mars, which is the ruler of war, and Pluto, the ruler of the underworld. So this first occurred on February 22nd. And it definitely brings the need to carry extra awareness, because it will definitely bring stress and conflict in many cases. Partnership commitments or unwelcome opinions from key relationships may come up, and how you respond to them could be part of the manifestation of this transit as well. By November 21st, that energy has cleared. We've got Venus and Scorpio making a great angle to Pluto. So now maybe that conflict brought things up, and now there's a smoothing over point. This can be very intense emotional or romantic experiences. This can have to do with amazing financial opportunities. So like I said, I had mentioned earlier that there'd be a few spots that would be okay for pushing some things through that are last minute things. You know, I don't love them as the big launches if you can help it, only because you're kind of getting into that Mercury retrograde energy. But if you've got to push some last minute things through, November 17th was a good time. November 21st has some good energies. And on the 22nd, we have Neptune going direct in Pisces. So of course, anything that Neptune does is going to affect everybody, but it will affect Pisces even more. When your ruling planet, it's not just because Neptune's in the sign of Pisces, it's because Neptune rules the sign Pisces. So this is a very sobering time, you know, so it's good for becoming practical and organized and making the abstract more concrete. On the 25th, we have a beautiful aspect with Mercury in Sagittarius, trining Uranus and Aries. And like I had said before, even though Mercury shadow period is happening, there are going to be people whose stuff starts to break down at this time and they need to get new devices. This would be a good point to push through, like if you have to get in a vehicle, if you have to get a device. If you haven't done it earlier in the month and things start to break down now from the shadow period having begun, this at least carries some good energy if you have to get some of those new things for things ruling communication and transportation. On the 26th, we have Venus and Scorpio making a trine to Chiron and Pisces. So this is really empowering for finances or your self-esteem or your romance sector. On the 27th and 28th, we have Mercury and Sagittarius making a conjunction to Saturn in Sagittarius. So big picture dreams, which is Sagittarius rules big picture dreams, may need some harnessing and organizing now. That's the influence of Saturn. So that's possible how it could manifest for you. Alternatively, hard work done to rein in scattered efforts can be very much rewarded. You know, since Saturn can be kind of serious and Sag can be light, sometimes the coming together of these energies can be something annoying and limiting to our flow and our expansion. But if you use the energy right, then it can be very productive, especially for long-term ventures. So these are the things that are most on my mind for the month of November for everybody. Definitely check out my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog. Check out my new school, my Astaria School of Practical Magic. If you are an empath, if you are a sensitive person trying to navigate in this crazy world and it feels like the rules are different for you and you don't know why everything is different than mainstream for you, it's definitely an amazing and magical, wonderful support system. So you can check that out at anniehelpsyou.com. Also, definitely check out my husband, B.R. Newman's Tarot Scopes. You can go to iamhelios.com, iamhelios.com. If you haven't already signed up for my free email newsletter, then definitely do that on my website at anniehelpsyou.com. And if you have signed up for my newsletter and you're not getting it, we need to figure this out because I send it out religiously every month, a month early. I always have, I will as long as I can. And so if you're not getting it, something's going on with your inbox. It could be in spam, it could be in social promotion events folders. If you use the contact in your welcome letter that I send, there's a contact address that I say to add. And when you add that to your contacts, it gives the message to your email service to put things from me right into your inbox instead of one of those other folders. So I hope you have a wonderful month and I'll see you next month. Bye.